ми записвате.
Смеш съм още, нали? Да му мислят следващите лекции.
Thank you very much to be here, and I want to thank to Peter and the staff of Place for Future. Is that the correct translation
Yep.
of the name? For this unique school. I really appreciate all these new methods of education, and that's part of what I do. And because during my 2-day stay, нали никой няма проблем с английски? Добре. Because during my 2-day stay, most of the interest which I got from people was who you are and how come you come to live up in the mountain alone. So I will give a very short, not biography, but pinpoints of what I am as a person, and then I guess you will get the idea why I'm up in the mountain. So I study university, then I travel around the world for 6 years. I hardly recommend this to everybody. Usually in foreign countries it's more common to travel after high school, before university. But in Bulgaria I think we get ready to travel after university. So for the students especially, life is in front of you. And when I came back, my world was changed. For example, because I'm a little bit of communistic child, one of the things I didn't know it's wrong to do is when you smoke, it's very often during the communism to throw your garbage or your ashes out on the street, because then we have this common responsibility. It was one day in the summer, in the spring, the party says everybody go out and clean. So you don't have the sense of your personal responsibility not to throw your garbage, because you know that then everybody will get and together you will clean the space you live in. And this crippled a lot of our society for taking responsibility of your action. And one of the things which I learned, it's a very small example, but one of the things I learned traveling is it's actually very wrong to throw your cigarette on the street. And this gave me the sense that most people do wrong not because they're bad or they feel that the wrong is good, it's because they don't have the information to do the right thing. And that's very important for all of us. This personal responsibility comes from getting information. So after I came back, my biggest goal was to spread information. It's very important to spread information between people, to share experience, and that's why I'm here actually. But that's what I started to do. Almost immediately after I came back, I understood that there is undergoing construction of one of the last wild beaches, Irakli. I guess most of you have heard. So I started this campaign, Let's Save Irakli, and I'm still the coordinator of the campaign. After this campaign, I worked on the campaign for stranger protection. When the status of protection of the park failed, I made a big company with famous people and informating the society.
Strange is the biggest natural park in Bulgaria.
I think they had to mass lecture, and they're pretty clear now about the statue. Yeah.
Everybody knows, yeah.
No, but you know the campaign, the first blockades, and when the parliament certainly decided to be very agreeable with the society. But this is because the clean movement start building civil society information, informative choice which you have learned about it and you understand that this is the right position and you stand behind it. That was my goal, not to say we will protect this. My goal was to find the value of protecting this, to personalize it. So after Stranja, I work on the campaign for protection of Vitusha. I start that campaign too. After this, there was a civil movement which arose by itself, and it didn't need my work on it. After this, I work on the campaign for GMO, and there we have a big success too. We were one of the first Eastern European countries which forbid GMO seeding and planting around the country.
Have the strictest legislation in European Union.
Yes, and we did it with quite a smart move. We didn't say put a moratorium on GMO protection. We said 5 kilometers around the Natura 2000 area will be protected from this, and because Natura 2000, as you understood, is 34% of Bulgaria, 5 kilometers around it actually covers the whole territory of Bulgaria. So actually the politics, one of the biggest problems in Bulgaria, actually I will get a little distracted of the goal, but one of the biggest problems in Bulgaria is that there's a huge lack of professionality in each sphere. You know, when you go in the shop, the sailor is like that, you know, she hates her job and she doesn't have the professionality to smile and say, welcome, can I help you? The same is with our politics, and a lot of people, they don't have this, and the teachers even, you know, they don't have this discipline of being professionals and knowing that this is your job and you have to do it correctly.
They don't have the passion.
Yeah, the passion and the discipline of standing behind your choice. If you don't like to be a sailor, don't be a sailor. You don't need to put it out to the other people. Or if you are not capable of making a good law, give up your parliament seat or find some consultant which will make this good law. You know. So, but that's quite out of the topic. But I think, yeah, sharing information is important, so as much as information possible. And after the GMO campaign, actually it came time for me to move up in the mountain. But between this, we create this big coalition for the nature, which I will not tell you now because you will have a very energetic lecture on that from Jordanka Dineva. She will come further on, and she will talk about the civil society and the movements. Meanwhile, while I was working on this project, because my first education bachelor degree is social work, I was working on many campaigns for children in disability positions, people with disability positions, all kind of that stuff, which for me is very important also as a civil movement and building a concept, a straight idea of your word. And I had quite big experience with alternative methods of education. This is one of them, but with children it's even more fun. I was actually thinking to make one energizing game, but we don't have really time, so I will just...
Yeah, the grassroots.
Yeah, you will get the energy from here. Yeah, and all this time I was giving my whole time to people's all kind of spheres, you know, ecological, social, children, etc. But at some point I realized that it's important not only to talk with people about how to be something, but to become something you want to be, and then to have the, the advantage to say it's working, so please do it. So most of my friends in Sofia, because I'm from Sofia originally, most of my friends, they're constantly, every weekend they try to get out. Most of them dream about having a house, a garden, but very few people do it. You know, they talk but never do it. So I had this cottage 10 years ago. After I come back from traveling, I had some money apart and I bought this house. It's 7 kilometers from Triavna, up in the mountain. The village is one meadow in the top and one meadow in the bottom, between 10 houses. We had 3 people, 11 cows, 13 sheep, 12 dogs, and uncountable number of cats. And 4, 5, and now with me 6 families of bees. So that's our village. It's on the hill, on the top of the hill. It's completely out of, it has just one road, which is good, but nothing special. So during the winter we have 10 days or months which you don't have way out or in. So you have to be very careful making your winter glasses and bread and etc. But actually, since I'm there, I don't have even a week, which I'm only alone, only me. It's always somebody coming for a few days, staying, exchanging work and ideas. So very often the first question after why do you decide to do this is, are you not lonely, are you not bored there? It's impossible to be bored. From the morning to the night you have
your work.
You have work, but you have this work with great joy. You know, when I was living in the cities, for me it was very difficult to wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning and go to work. It was literally exhausting, and I was always saying, you know, I'm a night person. I like to sleep to 12. But since I lived there 4 years now, almost 4 years, I discovered that I'm not a night person. I actually very much enjoy the sunrise, which I never thought that I will. So you discover a lot of things about yourself doing this. And in my garden I have 3 deckers. Is that the correct measurement? No,
Not everyone.
hectares is different as a count.
0.3 hectares.
Yeah, okay, yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I felt it right now, saying in deckers is it's not correct.
1,000 square meters.
Okay, so it's a very big space, which is divided, it's on a slope. So we create terraces, you know, you put the earth and flatten it, and small terrace. So I have one flat space in front of the house where I grow my herbs. And I have many terraces where I grow my vegetables, and this is 1.5 decker, and the rest, the other half actually, is over 150 trees, fruit-giving trees. Uvoshki?
Yeah, fruit trees.
Fruit trees, but not only, you know, almond nuts and other nuts. So it's mostly plums, actually, because they grow very well on this not very rich soil. But I have 2 trees of apples, so different kinds of cherries, everything to enjoy the full spectrum of nature. So now there is 2 paths I can go. The one path is to talk with you about what Philip pinpointed about the sustainable development of your garden and how everything in it is alive and how you can treat different preparates, how to make the things grow without bugs, etc., without using pesticides or anything. And the other road which I can go is to talk with you about the possibility, because the program is made like that, the possibility of young people to live in small villages and to have their own garden, because you know, as a person which makes campaigns and actually makes view-shifting campaigns, you know, things which totally shift things, I would like to elaborate on that because it's very possible and very realistic and very good step divided how actually each person which wants to have a garden can have it with government policy, etc. So what would you prefer, what you are more interested in talking about? We can try to squeeze both.
Maybe.
Yeah, but you're a politician, it doesn't count.
Maybe ecological way, squeeze both.
Okay, I will try to squeeze both, but... Нямате предпочитание, така ли да разбира?
За втората тема се обедини.
Okay. Okay. So, one of the first things which I want to pinpoint on that is what I discovered through practice that is actually true. It is a scientific discovery of Блум, нали говорихме онзи ден за него? Как беше, Давид? Практическото мислене, името. Дебонов, точно. Извинявайте, не помня имена изобщо нито на хора, нито на Дебонов. There is this scientist, psychological researcher of how the way we think, the way we construct our movements and all our life. Peter Debono, if you want, at some point I can send you some book for references which you can check if you are interested. But he says something very essential and very difficult to catch it because it's so obvious. When we start walking, the way we perceive the world is you know, you get up on your feet, wobbling around, and you want to get, for example, to the chair of your mother, and you choose, you see your mother, and you choose, okay, I will wobble this way and a little bit that way and catch this chair, and then I will go to there. You know, these steps to the goal is you make them from the point you are now to the goal. So this is the movement in the physical world. But what De Bono actually revolutionized is he says if you want to have a big goal like a dream or shifting the world or the perception, you have to start. You get the goal, the ideal goal. For example, I want the wild bitches to stay wild. You get there and you stuck to there, and from there, from up, you look the small steps you get. You know, at some point they separate. So this is actually the way to achieve something. It's not the way we move through the physical world, but moving through the intellectual world of the human societies from this goal going down.
Backward.
Yes. So I said that because what I will tell you now, how it's possible for Bulgaria to be popularized and not having the problem of Chiprovtsi or most of the villages. At the beginning it may sound for you like it's impossible, but when I started the campaign for Irakli or GMO, all the people were saying that it doesn't matter. You know, well, that was an unpolite way, but you put too much effort in something that is, you know, unthinkable. So what is about this? The situation in Bulgaria at the moment is that we have huge amount of left villages that the houses just cripple down and fall apart, and nobody takes care of them because there are too many inherited people which cannot divide the property, or they just don't care, or they're abroad. And like it's here in Chiprovtsi, the population is very small. A lot of houses stay empty because just nobody sells them. And what they did in Russia, actually, I don't know if you know about that fact. Of course, Russia is much bigger, but in Russia they made a law that everybody who is willing have the right to have 1 acre of ground. It can be with house or without house. They don't have so much houses. They are abandoned like us. We are one step ahead on that situation because we have a lot of abandoned houses with ground around it. In Russia they gave acre of just ground, yes, for everybody who is willing, with preference to young people. And what you do with this ground is up to you, but most people made these dacha situated places where they have this village and work. Yeah, it's a fact. Да променя езика. Не, за мен не е проблем, може да продължим на български. Може да им по-ясно на хората, не знам.
Само е вред, че ако говориш с тази скорост по 30% от нещата ще стига.
Не се притеснявай, ще говоря по-бавно, пък и не е фатално.
Колко души сте, че да си замисли? Май вие не средно, 30.
Между другото, точно на един гледа и за този почтия отец Иван, който е започнал такава кампания, че купува на цели семейства къщи, стопанства с овце, с всичко.
Да, но това е дребният подход, нали, който всеки от нас може да реализира по някакъв начин. Аз това, което искам да кажа е, че е въпрос на държавна политика, която ние можем да наложим като изискване. Не знам, да продължавам ли или?
Само да се разберат.
Навръщане пеша.
Да. Всъщност няма държавна политика да насърчава.
Да. Те са частни, но всъщност проблема за тия пустещи сеща, които просто са мъртви. Нали? В моята махала ние сме много хора. Ние сме 3, но сме много, защото около нас има 10 махали, в които никой не живее. И къщите просто седят и се рушат. Проблема с тези... Okay. The problem with these houses is that they have many people which inherited, like sometimes up to 12 people, nephews, grandnephews, etc., which have this house, and they cannot decide between themselves. They even don't know most of their relatives where they live, are they alive. They have it just on paper, so they cannot even sell it. So the house just stays and creeps into ruins. What we can do accept all small steps which each one of us, like this priest, can do, is the government policy can be. You can build a law. Actually, at the moment, I'm working with 2-3 people with law education, and we think how you can, in which laws you can make the changes of the laws and put new clauses, which will allow to the government and the local municipalities to pinpoint and pick up houses which have this unsettled heritage, and they're still in the status in which you can renovate it a little bit, because some of them just can be torn down and built again. And to compensate the people which you can discover with the value of the property and the house. And that way these houses will become municipality or government property. And they will rent them, but in the sense renting, not in the sense giving money each month. They will give them to families or young people or just people who want to live in that way, or just visit it as a summer house and work on the garden. But it's better to live there, so to bring fresh blood into the small villages. And the rent will be, well, that's what we are thinking at the moment, but it will be something like when you start to produce, you will choose the field in which you will produce. You will have the obligation to give to the local municipality some amount of, it's like the rent at the old times, but not so blood-sucking, of course. You will give to the municipality, which will distribute this ecologically clean food made with love to people in houses for old people, children, all the institutions in schools during the lunch breaks, etc. That will actually boost up the economy very much. And the other spheres of governmental politics which you have to have for this to work is, first, you will have to try to inhabit one village with more than one family, because people are always afraid that they will be alone, they will not have social life. So it's better to think like the architects in perspective and the whole picture, to know that it's better to inhabit one of the abandoned villages with many people than all the abandoned villages with one person in each. So they can create community, start a cultural life, etc. The other thing which will be very easy for government and municipal law to do is to provide good internet connections. Bulgaria is one of the first places as a speed, but it can work on that, because most of the people actually work through internet. So they can even keep their work, not to become farmers, but they can keep their work as architects or designers or programists or whatever. So it's a very complex government policy, and now we are creating kind of a civil movement. I'm inviting you to enjoy, to think tank and brainstorm the ways, and because you can miss something. So it's better always to have more heads thinking about it, to see where and how can these small changes can be made. So the government policy and the perspective of the people to change a little bit. Because what we do now is we work in cities we cannot stand, jobs we don't like, to pay things we don't need. And most people are terribly, terribly unhappy. And it's up to them, but we can change that. And all the energy you get from the garden is unreplaceable with any social or cultural energy. I don't want to put my view of the things, because I know a lot of people really need to be in a society with their friends and to go to theaters or have drinks in the pub at night, especially for the young people. This is still very important. So it's quite interesting task actually to find how to make it a middle ground, so our villages do not disappear, our ground to not suffer, because if you don't work the ground, or like Toma Belev explained you, if you don't have the sheep to eat the grass, you lose a huge amount of biodiversity, all the mouses, all the birds, and this will reflect immediately on us. It's not only the pollution we make, it's the not working and loving the ground we had. This is it's a huge shift which nobody talks.
Да кажем чао на Галя.
Да, може би ще трябва да ми кажете, като наближи време, да ходим надолу за следващата лекция.
Няма проблема.
Има ли
Поне
време?
15 минути.
Yeah, so
15-20.
So my point is that this is something we don't talk about. We miss it as a point. How much we were spread through the world, how much we work with the ground and the animals, and how little we do now. We are much more people, but we do much less for our planet. Not like the way of planet biodiversity and parks, etc., but for our planet, because trees and plants, they need love to grow. This is. It may sound abstract to you, but it's actually a scientific fact which was examined and measured in scientific methods, that each plant and each animal needs the human energy or receive it and understand it in a very powerful way. I don't know, does it sound very much up there like white magic or something?
Just
Well,
add water.
it's not,
and
it's
that's water and sun.
bio...
Add also water and sun and that's fine.
Yes.
Well, this is the small energy, the biofield. It's this 8 hertz of the wave of your biofield. It's very important for everything that's living. It's very important for this organic system.
Yeah, actually, very much people believe or say that the purpose of humans and our development is to develop this huge mental energy which we have, the power of our thought, so we can spread it throughout the planet and be a very essential part of the healing process or the growing process of the other beings. You know, that's why we have the power of thought, so we can put it out there. And for the moment, we are like growing up very egocentric little children, which put all this thought and energy into ourselves and our society. But actually, many people believe that that's the way we will evaluate evolutionate. Imam problem с evolve. Yes, that's the word. I'm very much scientifically based. For example, what Philip told you about Rudolf Steiner, I know Rudolf Steiner from the alternative methods of education and the Waldorf pedagogic, but for me he's a little bit too weird, if I have to.
You can say esoteric.
Yeah, he's a little bit out there. He has very good points, like the Kupriva,
The nettle.
the nettle. The power of the nettle as a turf and as an anti-insecticide, and it's true. I work it in my garden. I don't steer it 3 hours, but I steer it because I have the feeling when you open this big bag, when you open it, on the top it have made a filter, which doesn't look good. I don't feel good to put this on the plants, so I steer it before to put it on the plants. Not because I read Rudolf Steiner and he said, you know, the energy will come from the space, but because you have the feeling what is right to do in your garden when you live in it and you observe it, and you observe how things grow and how they feel in different situations. At some point you develop this sensibility which tells you very fast what is the right thing to do. Like when you become a mother, you may not know nothing about raising a child, but if you trust your instinct, you will know that when your child cries, you will take it and comfort it. But if you have read a lot of books or listened to a lot of grannies, they will say, leave his lungs to develop, it has to cry, you know. So it's very important in each situation to listen to your own feelings. So for this I steer it, not because Rudolf Steiner have told me, but he has some very good points which I pick up. One of the things which is scientifically discovered and proved and very logical actually is what Philip told you, pinpoint you about the moon movement. The planet, our planet is huge percent of water. We ourselves are over 80% of water, and the moon always causes the shifting of the water, the tides going. So if the moon reflects to our sea in that powerful way, imagine what it does do to all the fluids in your body or in the plant's growth process. So the moon is actually physically proved that you have to obey the rules of the moon to have a better production in your garden. So it's very important that what I told your friend, the plant picking girl, that at this point today, these days, it's absolutely irrelative. It's not a good idea to pick herbs these days because now the moon is going to the new cycle, is going down. All the minerals and energy of the plants is going to the roots where it stays and keep the movement of the liquids. So picking up a herb right now, it will have less than 40% of its power. It's kind of you can wait 12 days more for the full moon or for the when the moon starts rising, so the fluids start rising up to the flower, and you have to obey to the sun circle too. It's very important to not pick the herbs after 11-12 because then all the minerals and the liquids which are actually containing all the healing of this plant, they have been burned from the sun because the plant itself, it has this cycle that it's full of juices and fresh in the morning because of the night rusa.
Dew.
Dew, okay, very nice word. And during the day, this plant starts growing its seeds. So all the liquids from the sun absorb into the seeds or the seeding process. They cannot have seeds yet, but the seeding process absorb all the power of the plant, so to say. So at some point after 11 till late afternoon, the plant is too much absorbed with itself to give away the healing purposes. The only exception you can make in the late afternoon for fruits, but still obeying the rules of the moon. You can pick fruits in the late afternoon because the fruits actually are the seed bearers. So actually it have in the late day, it have absorbed already all the power, and it's good for the fruits to be picked then. So you have, when to pick the roots, the fruits, the plants, the flowers, the leaves. And this is one process which I'm still learning, and I think the next 40 years will take me learning all that. Like Philip said, I know that I don't know nothing, so yeah, but I'm learning and I'm very eager to learn and share my experience. So if you have any questions, I would like to stop making monologue.
Maybe just a remark. You're totally right the process. But I think from the Steiner or Robokin's point of view, there is sometimes kind of a mystical process.
I don't really like Steiner for this. I don't. Yeah.
But the reason is it's like baking bread, or it's a natural chemical biological process. So it needs time to grow, to take the photosynthesis, and sometimes I got some students. They say they are afraid of this mystical new agriculture. It's not. It's just the life. But we have to take care of the words we use, like the power. It's just the growth and the process taking elements from the ground. And it's true that with time, if you wait a few hours, so the deposits from the phosphates or stuff, they go down, and so you have a clean nutriment for the plant. And we need time for living, for growth, and for all the spaces. What you told, it's like when we were to the Park Museum Information Center. There were a pictogram with the two way of thinking life, the egoist human pyramid,
the pyramid, yes.
domination, and the ecological one where is a kind
circle.
of circle and all the spaces live together because it's a supply chain.
Yeah. But maybe then I don't understand the remark. But for me, this is the most important thing, to leave space to the things to grow. In the garden there is no wrong plants, няма бурени. В нито една градина няма буринг, да го кажа твърдо на български. What have happened with our grandparents, I don't know, at some point, maybe the small space or the very hard work working the ground, they start making these square gardens which you can see everywhere, you know, this brown soil with only the plants they want to eat. Planted. This is so wrong, and it gives you so little. If you leave all the plants which want to grow next to your tomatoes, they will help your tomatoes, and your tomatoes will help them. And when you have, like in our village, we have very little water. We have problem with that, and 3 months of the year I go to. There is 3 places with trees in the roots of which we have fresh water. So 3 months of the year I carry water all day long. The rest 3 months I carry woods all day long. But it's actually really fun. It's not so hard as it sounds. It's very important to have all this green grass left to make the soil rich, to keep the water inside. Because when you pick it and leave it only brown, all the microelements, everything burns in the sun for a few hours. So it's really important to keep the way they want to live and to help them to live the way they want to. Like I have this example which I will give in Bulgarian because I don't know the name in English of the herb. Лайката, от началото, откакто съм отишла там, 3 години подред, всеки път като засадя домат и до този домат ми пониква лайка. Ама всеки път, разбирате. И аз понеже отглеждам билките на едната тераса, зеленчуците на другата, и в началото я изкопавах на новолуние, премествах при билките, но тя просто толкова упорито продължи да настоява да расте до домата, че аз се предадах и всъщност в момента аз не съм виждала такава лайка. Тя е нископланинска, принципно лечебна лайка, дето трябва да е толкова голяма, но тя става една такава огромна туфа, а доматите пак, нали, защото тя не е до всеки корен, но до някои от корените, тия корени, които са до лайката, те никога не боледуват и дават огромни плодове. И това не го пише в никоя книга, нали, аз много се интересувам. There is a lot of books and I read a lot of, you know, what it goes very well with what, you know, the cucumbers, with the dill, the paprika with other herbs, and there is a lot of studies about this, so I read them, I obey them in some way when I feel it, but actually your garden knows much better than you what it needs, and this with this herb which I thought
Probably chamomile.
Chamomile, yes, chamomile, of course. Chamomile. It turns out the chamomile in my garden adores the tomatoes, and the tomatoes adores the chamomile. So it's very important. How it's the same like educating a child. It's very important to listen to what the child needs, and it will tell you if you let it what we'll need. So it's the same a little bit with the garden. I hope I don't sound out there very much, but I really try to make scientific point of it and research all the information possible and then to make decision choice like in everything in our life. So any other
I mean, can you make a living out of this? Because I mean, this is the question here. I mean, many people leave the villages and the small towns because they don't have work. So if you tell them, well, you can come back, you can do like work.
It can be your choice, not obligation.
Yeah, I mean,
well, let's say. Sometimes I make a living, sometimes I don't. No, the one basic rule which we have to have in mind, and our grandfathers knew it and we forgot it, if you have a ground, you will never go hungry. You will survive in any case. And you don't even need to work 24 hours a day because most of the fruits they want to grow, they want to live, they want to give fruit. So you have to give them just a little push. So you will never ever go hungry. You may have to cut down on chocolate or tobacco or all kind of things which you don't really need for existing physically. For me, because I'm freelancer since I graduated, I told you I work on different campaigns. For me, nothing much has changed, except I don't get to dedicate my 24 hours 7 as I used to do when I lived in Sofia. I dedicate a little bit less place. My colleagues from the coalition know that I'm not so active, but still I'm not very much apart and still keep on what I have started. But unfortunately in Bulgaria, working in non-governmental organization is very low pay. My highest salary was 360 level. At the moment I work for 180 level per month, which is totally okay for me because I don't need so much. I need to travel, sometimes I need tobacco, I need to buy meat for my cats and dogs because I'm vegetarian, so I don't produce that. So that's something I need to buy. I need to buy sometimes oil for the salad because I don't produce that either. Otherwise, I have wheat, I have beans, no wheat. Yeah, wheat. Жито.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah, I
wheat,
understand.
No, it's not wheat, it's wheat. It's shorter. Actually, the wheat is very, very important for the potatoes and the tomatoes growing. Our grandmothers and grandfathers knew it.
It's
Dante
the part-
told it yesterday, this old lady which was punished by the police, because they very much protect from one of the biggest enemies of the tomatoes and the potatoes. And because I'm a young person, which is very often checked by the local police, because there is these rumors for me
are you
running
doing
from
there?
the mafia or growing narcotics, yes, so I cannot do that. I would love to do that for the protection of my potatoes and tomatoes. And besides, the seeds of the wheat is it's very healthy seed and it's very important for vegetarians to consume it. But unfortunately, I don't have this choice. But I discovered the beans do almost beans, you know, the stock of the beans do almost the same work. It's not so powerful. You need to put much more around the potatoes, but still, I don't have this insect in my garden. The granny at the village, she got herself poisoned this year because she was spraying with some insecticide for this. She didn't put a mask, so she was sick, and I needed to treat her for 3 days with herbs because she didn't listen to me to put beans. They think I'm lazy, I'm crazy, because my garden is, everything is green, nothing is cut down, so I'm very lazy for their perspective of view. You know, I don't keep the garden the way they, but little by little they get it. But actually, this I thought is very important to have internet. If you have internet and if you have your profession, you can translate, you know, you need very much less money living in that situation. So there is always a way to survive, not only to survive, but to live quality life, a very good quality.
Taxes? Do you pay taxes to the government? Or
Yes, I pay each year. The tax for my ground is 40 level. I find a way to save it and give it. The water I don't pay because it's our own sources. And the electricity I usually go between 5 and 15 level. This winter with the raise of the taxes, it was 20 the max per month. So there is not so much expenses. My biggest expense is my tobacco. I try to grow tobacco at the garden, but okay, we don't have time. Or?
Maybe 5 minutes. Do you use woods for heating?
Yes, that's something else which I want to work on the government policy to help the people which live in these places, the old people especially, to live the energetic sustainability. To, you know, actually what we talk and with Borislav and other ecologics. Oh, I'm tired of speaking. Sorry for the mistakes.
Environmentalist.
Environmentalists, yes. If all the money they plan to give for building Balkan was spread to each person who has a house or block living in, we can make each family absolutely undependable by any energetic source. You can put solar panels.
The opposite idea of Balkan.
Yeah, not only Balkan, this is a huge global problem about the gas and all that. So there is a ways to make things very right and very easy and very simple. I don't know why we don't do it, but I hope since we grow as information and
interest of some people. Because of the interest of some people.
These people, they cannot have the prevent of their interest because they are one handful, and as much we grow as an informed choice, we can at some point actually overcome them. That's something I believe. It is absurd, like 100 people in the world to make the decision of the life of billions and billions of people is totally unacceptable for me, and I will give my last breath changing that. So in different spheres.
Well, all the slavery, also the energetical slavery is first here.
Yeah, of course.
Did I answer your question?
If you don't understand.
I sell herbs too sometimes.
Good information.
Yeah,
good
or
education,
plants if
good
I have a little bit more.
self-feeling.
What do else I sell?
No, what else you want to have also in your garden that you still don't have?
Well, I wanted to have bees from the moment I get there. I wanted to have bees. Now I have bees from a month ago, and I'm extremely excited. Unfortunately, you can find a lot of literature about how to protect your plant with other plants, but you cannot find nothing on the topic how to treat your bees without antibiotics and other. The only thing I found is one plant, Cherenuman, which can treat one of the diseases on the bee. But this is the only thing in English, in Bulgarian, in everything I searched the internet. Probably I have been to the library of Triavna where I searched nothing there, but probably in some bigger library. I hope I will. That's my goal now, to learn how to treat the bees without any antibiotics. By the way, I want to mention something, and you want to keep it in mind. This disappearing and dying of the bees, etc. There is one factor which not very much people know. You know, everybody knows about the insecticides and the mobile phone waves, etc. But one of the biggest problems now, which nobody mentions, is this low quality sugar. A lot of people feed their bees with sugar and water. Yeah, that's the way they keep their bees producing a lot, because it's not sustainable. They take a lot of the honey of the bees, and during the winter they feed them with water and sugar to keep the family alive, because otherwise they will starve during the winter. And because most people are very poor and old, and they don't have the possibility to buy high quality sugar like the black one or not raffinated, which will be better for the bees, they buy the cheapest sugar possible, which lately have a lot of aspartame and etc. Mixtures in it to keep the price so low. And these things kills the bees.
Just like a diabetes.
Yes, it makes their immune system very weak and causes very fast death. And very few people know this, and you know, everybody knows about the insecticides, but nobody knows how they poison their bees. The way we poison our bodies, now we poison our bees. But that's another topic which I can elaborate a lot, but that's my new. So I want to have more bees at some point, and yeah, I don't want to have animals because I cannot eat them, so what I will do with them, feed them to life. It's kind of unreal. Yeah.
Keep your grass. They can keep your grass like very low grass.
Well, what I do I don't need that. I keep my grass up to spread seeds, and in the late autumn I cut it with the haver, busa.
Side.
And I keep it. I cut it down in the end of their living cycle. The first 2 years I left it on the ground to make a richer soil, but now I start to give it to my neighbors which have cows, for their cows, you know, helping them, and they help me with some milk. Sometimes I take the cows out in the mountain and feed them during the day if they're busy. I help them with making cheese, etc. That's the things I consume, but I don't consume the meat, so I cannot take a cow, make her pregnant to have milk, and then sell the child for slaughtering. It doesn't work for me, so I don't want animals. Something.
Well, as Walter said, to start first with your garden, it's your choice. It's, your choice now is the words of, like Voltaire said, you have to start first with your garden and then to make something bigger and bigger.
Well, I actually started the other way around, unfortunately, but now I'm...
you are restarting now, yeah. First with your garden.
No, I'm just trying every path possible.
Yeah. Someone had a question here.
Yeah, she got a question.
Do you have some alternative methods of producing energy now, like solar panels?
No, I cannot afford that. It's no way for me to buy a solar panel.
Is there any project which you can...
No, unfortunately, one of the things I want to work on is changing the government law about the way you can put a solar panel, because now there is a labyrinth of bureaucracy and terror and taxes, which is unbearable. If you want to put something and you have 2,000 level for the installation itself, you need 4,000 more and 2 years to get all the bureaucratic steps. That's something which I want to change, and then I will think for my own house.
So, have you imagined that the procedure to put solar PV
yeah, they
on
have
the
a very
roof
good
and
research.
to build a nuclear power plant are quite the same? That's fact.
They have a very good research in the site of the placeforfuture.org. At some place there is a link about the research of non-governmental organizations. We try to, you know, to be like a normal person wanting to put a solar panel and windmill on the top of their houses. it's a nightmare. Absolutely, it's a nightmare as bureaucracy and a lot of money which you don't need to give. So before I get that, I will need to work on a campaign for changing this legislation and etc.
And what about
But you have to give time to the time.
Yeah, but unfortunately, a lot of people are going to go to have a garden when they get pensionists. I don't want to do that with my life, so I don't want to give time for very reasonable choices. I want to imply them now. So.
What about this, I don't know the exact name in English, but it's firing the biomass or something like
Oh, I use the biomass for feeding the plants. I'm not going. Actually, with the trees, at the beginning I thought I will have big problem burning trees for heat. But what it happens since I'm there 4 years now, each year at some point there is some natural disaster. Like this year there was huge hurricane in our area, even people died, etc. And I had this huge walnut tree, almost 100 years old, 90 something, 98 years old. It was so big. And this tree from this storm split down and fell. And this tree will be enough for me for 2 winters ahead. The year before that, there was a cutting of my neighbor had, pine trees, forest, and it was the time to cut them because they plant them to cut them after 20 years because they're not stable anyway and they have to be cut. And to allow the big leaves forest to regrow itself. So it was the plan, and they cut it and they take a lot, almost everything, but a lot of the cut tree, not branches, pieces, chunks, because this pine tree is used for very long cutting for building houses. It's not very good tree for burning, so all these small chunks, they don't need them. It wasn't rentable for them to put them in a truck or to give the manpower to put them in the trunk and take them away. So my neighbor said, this is going to just dissolve, so you can take it, which was enough for my first winter. So I never have cut a tree in my entire life. I have planted a lot, so I don't have the problem with hitting myself with tree. It will be much better if we can help, because it's not only me, it's a lot of people like this, so if we can help them to have more sustainable houses, like energy loss and energy income, and to have less tree for burning. But this is the smallest problems of tree cutting in Bulgaria. Toma and I, we can talk about the forestry a lot. The bigger problem is the industry, the Turkey export. So actually this is the loss of biodiversity which have, not the grannies which burn 2 trees a year.
And you always can have some
Walnut.
Oh, they grow out.
And you just put in the ground and they will grow next year.
Oh, I don't need to put them. I have, I don't know, maybe 80 trees so big of... yeah, all of my trees reproduce themselves constantly, because when I get there, they told me you have to cut all the garden of the plums and plant new plums, because they have very short life, like 20 years, and yours are very old and they're going to die, so you have to cut them and plant new ones, buy and plant new ones, which I said, this is crazy, I'm not cutting any tree here. And actually now, since 2 years now, all of them start to reproduce themselves. They start to have, from the roots of this tree, it's dying the tree, from the roots it becomes a new one which grows very fast because it has the root system of the old tree. And it's good that I didn't cut it, because then the root system starts to die little by little and it will not grow a new one. So actually now all my 50 plums have babies which are growing, and I expect in 5 years I will have fruit from the babies. So I didn't need to plant or cut these trees. The only trees I plant is some new species which I don't have, like new type of cherry or apple. But usually they reproduce very fast. Actually, that's how they tell you. Everything tries to live. Everything has the urge to live. You just have to,
to leave them to live.
Yeah, and give them some love, and you enjoy them so much, and they are very eager to prove that they're worth it. So It's very, very easy life, and I don't know what we have done to get in this city and terrorize ourselves like that. But
Well, I just remembered something about my grandma. He was Vrat, and she was a medicine traditional. She knew every plant, every medical plant, and every plant.
I don't think that's possible, actually.
And,
But near.
too many. I don't understand it. He thought that Babini Devitin is something stupid, and I have learned from her only one tea and nothing more. But it was in the times of the Communist Party, and so we are atheists then. But I just remembered something she made on the village, our village house. Before, in the front of the house, a terrace, kind of this, with stones, first stones,
Yeah, like my terraces, that's it.
and then a ground here before the front door. And on the stones, she put it brashlan, kak? Ivy, yeah, like that. Here and geranium in the front door. And it's maybe it's something useful for.
Yeah, ivy is very useful. Actually, I wanted to speak a little bit with you about the herbs, but we don't have time. But actually, there's a lot of plants which we say that they're poison and you don't have to use them. It turns out they are very, very, very good for you. And there is a lot of them, like the ivy. Лопен, множество други, които хората твърдо вярват, че са отровни, а те всъщност са изключително полезни. But this is another topic. Bees, plants some other time, civil society some other time. So.
Plants like ivy or roses, they are used, for example, for vineyard.
Yeah, the roses help the vineyard very much.
It's like a weakness. It's a poison sometimes, but if you don't use it, but just watch it, the good health of the plant, you know that the rest will be okay.
Yeah.
And,
well, actually, the rose is not poison. I make wonderful jam, and it's very good herb. And actually, if you drink rose water, which you made yourself, with leaves, which stays a little bit, and distill it, at some point you start to smell two roses from inside out. It's the same with Kupriva. Пак го забравих.
Nettle.
Yeah, we use it for eating in soups or something like this, but actually it's very much recommended in the beginning of the spring to make 2 weeks drinking the tea. It's very tasty tea. It's incredibly tasty tea. Put the herb, a little bit boiled water, and every day you drink from that to restart your lymphic and blood circle after the winter stay down. And now a lot of people feel this summer with fatigue, which is actually absolutely untypical, because during the summer everything fills up with life and juices, and it's normal to feel actually very energetic during the springtime, and it's absurd for us to feel the way we feel, and this is because the way we live. And a lot of herbs can
I throw a scientific point here? What happens in the spring is that our body tries to renew itself.
And it can, because we live a wrong life.
In this process, it throws away the toxins that it has accumulated over the year. Those toxins get into our blood and we feel terrible, but actually it's a good process.
No, you don't have to feel terrible.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't accumulate toxins over
No,
the year.
I accumulate a lot of toxins with this, for example. But if you have the right cycle of your life, at the springtime you feel all the energy and you feel energetic, and using few herbs in a daily basis tea, it actually helps your body fast. Precisely this herb which I talked about, it is very good to cleaning all your blood and lymph system. It does miracles with it. And gluharche, dandelion. The dandelion, eating 5 sticks a day when they are yellowed in the beginning of the spring, before become blue. Eating 5 sticks of this you don't have any idea what does with you. It's like 5 coffees a day. It's amazing, really.
Just
I didn't
fresh
believe it, but it's
You pick it and
you pick it, you take the yellow part, you wash it, and you eat it 5 like this a day. They are a little bit bitter in the beginning, but actually after, when you get used to it, it's an incredible taste. They use it for salad very often. I really think we are very much ahead of time. It was great pleasure for me these 2 days, not only now, and thank you for the experience.
And thank you very much, Nadia, for coming here.
It was a pleasure.
It was,